Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Why? Guys, you had a complete layup. No, you were up 50 in the fourth quarter. It was in the bag. Uncharted 4 was unnecessary. It needed to justify its existence after the great wrap-up of Uncharted 3, and you pulled it off, Naughty Dog. That could have completely squandered the ending of the series, but it ended up being better than before. Why would you risk that again? I mean, I guess it's not really that risky considering Nate isn't the protagonist, but man, I would not push my luck. And not only is the story wrapped up, but because it's wrapped up, this does not feel like a sequel. It feels like an add-on. So with the great ending to the series on the line, the game just feeling like a cash grab DLC, and it being half the length of the other games, it's safe to say I'm not super excited to play Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Is that warranted, or will this game prove me wrong as I hope it will? I don't know, but let's cross our fingers and find out in the spoiler review. I do have to say, if anyone in this franchise deserves a spin-off game, it is 100% Chloe Fraser. To be fair, I would have taken anyone. Sam, Sully, Flynn, Eddie Raja, the rotting corpse of Cassandra Morgan, just anyone but Nate or Elena, but at least they went with the best possible alternative. I should also count the blessing that they didn't make a new character for this game because, like I said, this game is unbelievably short with only 9 chapters. To be fair, the total playtime for me was about 4 hours, which isn't the biggest difference to the other games, which each took me about 6, but there are only so many cutscenes and character moments you can stuff into 9 levels without it feeling bogged down. And with that limited level count, I really don't think they could have built up a new character enough for us to really care or have enough impact, so getting that head start with Nadine, but especially Chloe with how impactful she was in 2 and 3 really helps. Part of me does wish this was a DLC though, just tacked onto another story, because the treasure hunt has no build up either. What even is The Lost Legacy? I don't think they ever say those words in this game at all, and it's not an artistic subtitle like Drake's Fortune or A Thief's End. It's very literal, The Lost Legacy. There's a chapter titled after it where you find the hidden capital city, so maybe it's referring to that. I think since the titles usually refer to the character dynamics or the background of people close to the main character, it's probably Chloe's dad's hunt for the Hoylasian Empire since that mission is where you see his last stop, but I don't like that the title of the game doesn't have a tight fit to anything that happens in the story. This treasure is also just fundamentally lame. Like, the tusk looks cool and has some historical significance with the mythology surrounding it, but it only costs as much as a bomb from Shoreline, a private military with nukes like the Diamond Dogs, and it's underwhelmingly the same size as the dagger from Uncharted 2, which, I'll remind you, is not the treasure of that game. And I'm sorry, but historical significance alone isn't enough for me to care. Think about it, Sir Francis Drake, Marco Polo, Lawrence of Arabia, Captain Henry Avery. I care about the treasures in these games because they're the object of obsession and goal at the end of these historical figures' journeys. In Lost Legacy, who am I chasing? India? I'd say Chloe's dad, but the story doesn't change or have any reveals. We're just told he was chasing it. Literally, the country of India has more plot development and story twists as a character than the father of a side character 2 games ago. It's just another historical artifact. It's not even linked to some big, intriguing mystery like the Great Circle. It's so insignificant compared to any other artifact that Asav literally only wants it so he can sell it to buy a bomb. There is some classic Uncharted historical fiction I really like. The Hidden Capital City in particular is really cool, but this runtime really makes the story suffer because there just cannot be any buildup. Despite the game's lacking story though, I was seriously pumped to see these characters. Chloe's still consistent with who she was back in Uncharted 3, but in the 7 years that had been since then, she's definitely matured a lot and become especially more compassionate. And above all else in this game, I believe Sam Drake is the highlight. He's still his cool, funny self, but since he's not as crucial to the plot in this game, he's taken a backseat into the comedy role, where he's trying to be his laid-back self and that Drake luck keeps tying his shoelaces together. He's one of the best in a game full of great additions, and he genuinely makes every scene he's in better in Lost Legacy. Too bad there's a character that disagrees with every fiber of her being. Nadine Ross was one of my least favorite characters in the Uncharted series because she was barely even a character. She was just a couple of unwinnable boss fights. So believe it or not, I was actually excited to see her in this game and get a chance for her to be an actual character, and now, yeah, she just is my least favorite character in the series. I'll start with the positives. She's written consistently across games, like how she breaks the window instead of waiting for Chloe to pick the lock because she's impatient, just like when she blew up half of Scotland looking for Avery's treasure. And it makes sense for her to want Shoreline back because it fell on her watch, and she wants to prove to herself she's not a screw-up. Okay, so those are all the positives out of the way. Let me get into why I hate her. She does one thing that is a huge pet peeve of mine, and that's take herself way too seriously. She cannot be the butt of any joke and has to win every single encounter with anyone that she ever has, like when she makes Sam move to the back of the 4x4 because she called shotgun even though he's already in the front seat. Now, that doesn't sound so bad, does it? Yeah, well, she does that while a train with a bomb rigged to it is on its way to blow up a city, killing millions. That is not the time to get upset because someone you don't like is sitting where you want to sit.
Hi, you all right? Sorry, I just need to get my head back in the game and I'll eat. Hey, Nadine Ross!
Oh, that's cool. Now I get to climb all the way up again. There should be a collectible too that wipes your save file and factory resets your PlayStation. And she's so damn dramatic. She finds out Sam Drake is involved and hates him for getting in her way, even though she tossed his brother out of a window when they first met. And when Chloe says he was her original partner on this, she socks her in the face. Dude, why are you even here? You replaced Sam with half of his historical expertise. You're lucky you got hired.
Let's get one thing straight. This is my gig. You want your share? We play by my rules.
And then she calls Chloe a selfish dickhead. And when Chloe tries to apologize, Nadine cuts her off and says,
Look, I get it.
huh? She's so childish and has to have her way. And frankly, I wasn't just hyped to see Sam because he's Sam. I was hyped because he picked up Nadine's dead weight and made me enjoy the game more. At least you actually play as Chloe, who is genuinely fantastic. I don't know if there's anything about her that irritates me.
We just did a thing.
Oh look, I found something. I loved the gameplay of Uncharted 4 though, and that feels impossible to screw up since you could keep it exactly the same and have no issues, at least with me. And yeah, it's more or less the same. Same fundamentals the series has always had, but they actually fixed a huge gripe I had with Uncharted 4 and added a dodge to the hand-to-hand combat. Now, how they managed to make 5 games with hand-to-hand combat before adding a dodge is beyond me, but better late than never, I guess. So that is a plus, albeit a minor one, but there is a minor problem too. They brought back the grappling hook and piton, which greatly added to the gameplay and made Uncharted 4's climbing far and away the best in the series. But, and I do think that I'm the only person who is ever going to care about this, they have a few double grapple jumps, which was built up to over the course of the last game to feel much more impactful instead of just being able to do it on the fly. Again, crucially unimportant, but dodging is such a basic necessity that it sort of evens out and makes Lost Legacy pretty much as good as the last game. That may sound negative, obviously I wish it improved, but it is absolutely worth remembering how fantastic the gameplay was and continues to be. Another gameplay element brought over from A Thief's End is the semi-open world segments, and while it is less linear than the Fields of Madagascar, it's not by much. There are 2 main differences, one being that it's not as straightforward as you'd think. You have 3 goals you need to accomplish to advance in the story, and you can do them in whatever order you'd like. There really isn't any difference in the order you do them, but it maintains that illusion that this is much more open than you'd think it is. The second is that out of all the Uncharted games, we never really have had any side content. Granted, these aren't games that easily lend to side content, and I really don't know how you'd go about adding it, but through this entire series, the only optional content has been collectibles, notes and treasures. But through this semi-open world, we finally get our first side objective. You go to this hidden temple carved into the side of a rock wall and find this hidden monkey sanctuary with a map of the area. Well, at each mark on that map, you'll find a treasure. Okay, rough start, but collecting all 11 of them will unlock your final reward. A treasure. It's a damn treasure. You go on a wild goose chase collecting the 11 infinity discs for a bracelet. It does help with completing the game 100% as it lets you know if there's a treasure nearby, but it would have been way cooler to have it actually connect to the plot. Maybe have the bracelet be in a room that Chloe's dad has clearly been in and have a story reveal about him in the Tusk. Maybe he scattered the discs so no one could find the bracelet. I don't know, anything but unlocking the same thing we've picked up over and over. Imagine if in Arkham Knight you collected Riddler trophies, but there was another side mission where you find 11 purple Riddler trophies, which unlocks a shiny new red Riddler trophy. But even though Lost Legacy does have a bit of a hard time innovating, it does get core Uncharted gameplay elements right, like the puzzles and set pieces. Again, because this game is shorter, there aren't as many as I'd like, but I especially love the pressure plate puzzle. It scratches that Hitman Go turn-based puzzle itch, and I would have liked more of the shadow puzzle. And getting to climb around the Ganesh statues is super fun and one of the most impressive yet simple sections of these games. The action-packed moments were great too, like sliding down the rainy rooftops of the Indian city. Jumping the 4x4 into the train is one of the coolest things this series has ever done, but it did feel like they were playing the greatest hits. They do add on to them like driving to the Switch House, but I've seen it all before. Jumping around a caravan like in Uncharted 3 and 4, in the same mission, racing to the front of a train like in 2, getting chased by an APC. Okay. The APC in this game might just be the worst thing of all time. It is very rare I get real life road rage, but man oh man did I get it playing this game. There's this set piece where you have to hide from it while blowing it up with C4, so knowing the direction it's headed is so fundamentally important. So you can imagine the ire building in me when this thing started making 27-point turns and backed over me. The pathing on this truck is just the worst, which is really weird because that's not a problem the other enemies in this game have. Fighting foot soldiers is pretty smooth, and they act like they should, sometimes even flanking me. The enemy NPCs haven't been victims of total brain death, and that's not something I can say about every video game. And it's visually stunning at times. These are fantastically rendered, seemingly hand-painted environments that are a joy to see. But at what cost? Listen, a while back, I had an awakening. I realized that I can criticize a game and still be funny without being a complete dickhead. There's some moments I look back on in videos and say, yeah, it was a bit too far. And so now I try to be as fair and honest as possible, but without just being hurtful. That being said, this game is technically appalling. There are issues that you can roll your eyes at and move on. Nadine's having a little trouble with the rope over here. But there are also just some weird problems that I have never seen before. Visual stuttering and lag are common. Audio stuttering is completely new to me. Lost Legacy does have the best sound effects and design in the series, but the game would briefly, for a split second, just cut the audio completely, and it was incredibly jarring. It got to the point that the game stuttered so bad, the game was so framey that during the final Asav fight, I could not get the timing right to dodge his attacks. So I said, okay, this is awful, I'm gonna close app. Let me just hit the home button. And I hit the home button. And where's the home screen? I hit the off button on my PlayStation. No beep. I held it down for 20 seconds and had to hard reset my PlayStation, and the game finally ran well for the last 8 minutes of the game. So I said, you know what, dude? Maybe it's just been too long since I cleaned my PlayStation, but let me test something. I turned on Uncharted 4, immediately jumped into the Chapter 11 caravan encounter since that's probably the most technically taxing chapter given how much it needs to load so quickly, and guess what? Smooth as butter. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is so technically inefficient and uncompressed that it turned my PlayStation 5, the console generation after the one this game came out on, into a brick that couldn't load the game or home screen until I hard reset it. I'm sorry, I want to sing this game's technical praises. It's a beauty to look at, and it's probably the best visually and audibly in the series. But the fact it can do something that unbelievably and comically faulty in 2025 is indefensible. I had the same concern with Lost Legacy that I had with A Thief's End, and that's whether or not it can justify its own existence. So, did it? Okay, as a basic normal video game, yeah, it's at the very least entertaining enough to warrant playing for 4 hours. But the Uncharted series is special. It's so much more than just a time filler. So as an Uncharted game, no, I cannot root for this game to exist or say it's important to the franchise overall, especially since the treasure hunt, the thing these games are based around, is lacking. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy gets a 6.5 out of 10, as it was fun, I don't regret playing it, and it was an overall net positive, no matter how slightly. The only thing I'd say that contradicts that is that I was disappointed, but not because I didn't like the game, it's because I didn't like it as much as I wanted to, especially with that baffling technical performance. That honestly might be too harsh though, you know? Maybe I was just cranky. You know what? It's only 4 hours. I'll replay it just to make sure. Let me just start it up here and...